be a converted man here. Well, if you don't know who Gad Saad is, then, well, I guess you don't know. But you should, because he's an interesting guy. He's a evolutionary person type. Like he explores evolution of psychology, like evolutionary psychology and stuff, and it's just very fascinating stuff that he does. And he likes to talk to people and engage in ideas and discourse and discussions, and he has an interesting background, and he's just a dude, and sometimes he goes under his desk when things get really bad. He goes into hiding. And I've been watching him here and there, and I don't think I've watched everything he has, and I've listened to him, but it came to my attention recently that he's made an evil Twitter post. Now, I'm not on Twitter. I deleted Facebook, not the actual Facebook. I deleted my Facebook account and my Twitter account. Although, and this is kind of creepy, both of them are there should I ever come back. Like, they're not really gone. They're just kind of gone. Even though I wanted both of them completely gone, they're both kind of there if I want them. I don't know how that works. Anyways, my thought is get off Twitter, get off Facebook. They're evil, vile platforms. They just suck out your life energy, your soul, your spirit, your vitality, whatever you want to call that. And of course, those terms don't really mean much for me as a skeptic, but it really drains you emotionally and physically to be on those places. But he made a mistake. He really did. He made a colossal error of judgment in posting something on Twitter. And this is his YouTube page. You can see he's got a book called The Parasitic Mind, and how infectious ideas are killing common sense. And just in case, because I want to cover all my bases, because I do want to be noticed by God Senpai. If he notices me and then invites me on his channel, we have to have a debate, Gad. There is no such thing as common sense. That will be the first thing that we will have to debate. I will have to dissuade you of that idea that there is a thing such as common sense. And thus you'll have to change your book, the name of the book, to fit that once you lose that debate, which you will, because that's just how it goes. I'll just logic you to death of that idea that there is a such thing as common sense. Anyways, other than that, though, I agree with most of what you do almost all the time, pretty much. Not always. I mean, obviously, you have to disagree with people. You're doing something wrong if people always agree with you. I think that's kind of been my new mode of thinking that I've tried to adopt, is that if everyone is agreeing with me, then I'm doing something wrong. So I need to make videos where people disagree with me. That way I know I'm doing something right. Although I guess technically, if people are disagreeing with you, you could be wrong. But I'm always right, so I'm not worried about it. Anyway, so let's talk about his evil, vile, disgusting, despicable Twitter post. Hopefully this won't get my channel taken down by proxy, because I'm talking about how vile and evil and just twisted this guy is. So here's his. I want to read now. I got to read his. I'm just quoting just to make sure everyone understands. I condemn everything that he says. I condemn it. Just want to make sure everyone understands he is condemned. He's on my condemn list. So I'm reading what he says verbatim. Then and only then will I comment on what he says. So just bear with me. I know it's gonna be painful, but I have to read this in full so that I can then comment on it. Otherwise, I might be creating a straw man, and so I have to read this sick twisted, evil, vile thing that he said. And I'm also going to read some of the responses and talk about all that and talk about all this stuff. And that's what this is that I'm doing right now. So okay, anyways, let me just magnify this a bit, and so we can. There we go. You should be able to see it as well as I'm seeing it. There we go. Okay, my wife walked up to the server at our local cafe. Well, first of all, I've never seen your wife, so I don't believe you already, Gad. I know I said I was going to read the whole thing. I know. I'm sorry. I got to read the whole thing first, then I'll comment on it. I do apologize. Okay. My wife walked up to the server at a local cafe. The person was possibly transgender. She wanted to engage the individual, but was frozen in fear that she might use a pronoun that might offend. Therein lies the problem with this language policing. It takes perfectly natural social situations and the quest to not offend an extraordinary small minority who, of course, to live with full, dignified lives like anyone else. Everyone is walking on eggshells. Fighting for a world free of bigotry does not imply we must suppress perfectly natural categorization mechanics that are built into our brains and our languages. I can be free of bigotry without being compelled to celebrate your unique personhood. I'm getting closer to putting everything behind a subscription wall. Okay, so there you go. That's his evil, disgusting, vile tweet. First and foremost, again, let me go back and just say that I, as a skeptic, am skeptical that you have a wife because I've never seen her. I've not heard her speak. And so you could be lying for all I know, or you could be wrong. You'd be hallucinating that you have a wife. So I don't know. Now I must hold in judgment the idea that you have a wife until I have proof of it. However, it being a non-extraordinary claim, I could grant it based on the what's called the social contract, that you said something normal and mundane, something rather ordinary that I don't have to be skeptical of. Really, it doesn't cost me anything to assume that you're telling the truth unless I have evidence to the contrary. So really, I shouldn't be skeptical that you have a wife. So probably you do. Okay. So let's move on. We sorted that with logic and reason. Okay. Then she went to this local cafe, which, yeah, okay, do you have a local cafe? Again, it's probable and possible that you do. Okay, so it's something that she might do. Then she talked to somebody that was possibly transgender. Now we get into a problem here. Your wife is obviously the one that relayed this story to you, so this is really secondhand information, so it could have degraded over time. However, I don't think that this is extraordinary. I mean, it's possible to encounter in a relatively large enough population somebody that you're not sure about, that they appear to be male but they're female, or they appear to be female but they're male. But how do you know that they're transgender versus that they just look feminine or look masculine? You don't know, but the fact is, it doesn't really matter what the person was. She believed that the person might be this transgender. And for whatever reason, now I got to add in some more to the story here to make sense of it. I'm guessing that she walked up to them or whatever, and who knows what she was going to say, because she wanted to talk to them about, maybe she wanted to order maybe something, maybe anything. Who knows? I don't know. And in that moment of time when they realized, oh, well, wait a minute, this is they look different than what like, are they a girl? Are they a guy? Oh, they're wearing girls' clothes, but they look like a guy, or they're wearing guys' clothes, but they look like a girl. And my brain, it remembers that I've got to be careful about pronouns because I don't want to offend anybody. And so all of this is going immediately in her brain, and it shouldn't be, because it should just be that she's like, I don't care. I'm gonna say it as I think it is. Like if I think they're a guy, I'm just gonna do that. And if I think they're a girl, I'm just going to do that. But no, she's so worried about offending this person that all this is going on in her mind. And so later on, obviously it upset her, and obviously because it's obvious to me that it upset her because she's relaying all this story to Gad later on. Possibly will they're engaged in wild BDSM in bed. I don't know. Look, if that's your thing, Gad, look, I mean, that's what you like. I'm not kink shaming or anything. I'm just saying you probably engage in wild BDSM. All right, so got to make sure to insult Gad. That way people understand that I am not on his side, or his wife's side for that matter. I'm on the side of just accepting reality as you perceive it, unless, of course, you're perceiving reality wrong, which, of course, is a question that we must ask. How do we perceive reality correctly? And indeed, are we perceiving reality at all, or are we all just completely insane? Who knows? Hard sophilism. Can't solve it with logic. Oh well. Anyways, so what was I talking about? Right. So she was worried that she was going to offend the person rather than just being like, hey, guy, how's it going? What's up? I want to get a coffee there, dude. All right. Thanks, my man. Woohoo. She's like, no, I don't want to offend. Offend them. Go ahead. Offend the bleep out of this person. That's what she should do. You've got to train your wife. And again, now we're getting into the masculine role here and the patriarchal view of things, but you've got to train your wife. This is how, of course, the good book, sorry, not enough quotes in the universe. The Bible tells people, that the man is in charge of the wife and she's subservient to him and all this. So you got to train your, Islam, of course, enforces this idea, and they're right about women. So you've got to train your wife how to just not care about people. That's what you've got to do. Stop caring about whether or not you offend people. Because I mean, really, honestly, seriously, you offend somebody, so what? The world keeps spinning. It's like, oh, you offended one person? Smack them upside the head. Here's another offense. Now you can be mad. I'll backhand you too. Now you have something to be mad about. I said the wrong word to you. Oh, boo-hoo. What's your world gonna end? Too bad. Suck it up. I don't care if I offend people. That's what she's got to do. She's got to adopt the attitude of not giving a shit about whether or not she offends somebody. That's what's wrong in this world. Is we're all too worried about offending people. We need to realize that offending people is your right as a human. This is a human right. It surpasses all nations and languages. If there was a God, which I don't believe that there is, but if there was one, it would be our God-given right to offend people. Fuck you. Whoever you are, all of you, including me. Fuck me too. Fuck everybody. Screw it. Who cares? We're all offended. Good. The world doesn't stop spinning just because somebody's offended. Offend them. Don't worry about people's sensibilities and emotions because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is what's true. What matters is what's real. But that's not the society that we have. The society that we have has been trying so hard to make us care about everybody all the time, worry about the least little tiny thing. It's just sickening. I'm tired. It's like, look, stop worrying about it. Offend me. Go ahead. I've had people say all sorts of things to me over the years on YouTube. I've had people backstab me. I've had people leave. I've had people unsubscribe and block and yada. I've had it all. And I just realized, stop worrying. Just say what you want to say. And if you're wrong, great. Then you get to learn something. So if I say, hey, guy, and it's a girl, or it's a guy that's a girl, because whatever, I don't understand all that, which that in itself will get me in trouble with somebody. And you know what? I don't care anymore. I've stopped caring. That's the secret that your wife has failed on, and you have to educate her on that. You have to mansplain that to her so that she understands, so she's a less compassionate person. Because that's the problem. Too much compassion in the world. We need to not care. That's the solution. Okay, maybe that's a little bit hyperbolic. I don't know. You let me know in the comments below. Okay. So the language policing, and it takes perfectly natural. Now, look, Gad, if you can't say everything that you want to say on Twitter within the allowed characters, don't say anything at all. Which is again why Twitter is not a good place to really engage at all, because it limits what we want to say. So fuck Twitter, basically. But at any rate, so it takes that, and it makes it, makes this situation larger than it is. Or it could be like I'm saying, and maybe you're saying, well, man, I mean, you sound serious, deconverted man, but I'm getting the sense that maybe you're using hyperbolic language to make a point, like I have. See, Gad does this where he uses hyperbolic language and over the top stuff to try to make a point. And could I be trying to copy him in hopes that he will notice me, so that he will have me on his channel so that I can promote my book and get my channel a lot of subscribers? Absolutely, because I'm willing to sell out like that. But at the same time, what I'm saying is true, so double win. All right, what was I saying? Oh, right. Okay, so yeah, it takes something that should be nothing and it makes it into something. That's what I'm saying with kind of maybe the going the wrong way with it, or maybe not the wrong way, but going too far one way or the other. And I'm going to the extreme of just stop caring what people feel. That's where I'm going. Now, she went to the extreme of caring what people feel, like so much so that she was not sure what to do or say. And so I don't know what happened. Did she just stand there like, and run away? I don't know what happened. But I can imagine a different scenario where she was like, hi, sir, can I do whatever? And it happened to not be a sir. And then that person posted on Twitter, and then you have that whole mob against your wife and cancel her and remove her from society. Like, I can imagine that would have gone down. So it's like it's a lose-lose situation. So again, that's where I'm going way far off one way, where I'm like, just don't care. Just say whatever, because if you're gonna go down in flames, at least go down in flames doing the wrong thing in the wrong way, but not caring, rather than going down in flames for trying to explain this situation to other people and expecting that anybody will understand the nuance of the conversation that you're attempting to have with us, Gad. I mean, do you really expect us to use logic and reason? I don't know. I mean, how do I know? There you go. How do I know what I should care about? Exactly, Nerdy wrote it. How do you know what you should care about? That's why I'm going to the extreme. You shouldn't care about anybody or anything other than yourself, and maybe even that's a bit too far. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit extreme. Maybe there's a room for nuance there. I don't know. I've been trained lately to kill nuance. Like, everything I read lately, everything I hear about is like training me to just kill nuance. It's like, oh, this person's outright lying, they're evil and they're vile, and I'm like, okay, no nuance there, got it. And then, like, I listen to political people and stuff like this all the time, and I probably shouldn't, because it's just destroying my brain. Probably it's like, everybody that's a Republican's evil. Okay, no nuance, kill nuance. Everybody that's a Democrat is pure evil. Okay, no nuance there. And then you've got some people that try to be in the center somewhat, but they go, this is the, and they so what Gad Saad is doing here is he's trying to talk about a subject, and he can't, because nobody's going to understand that there's nuance, because nuance is dead. We have killed nuance. I wish I could quote Nietzsche, but I didn't read Nietzsche, so I can't. And then I would change Nietzsche's quote from where it says, like, killing God to killing nuance. I guess I could do that, but I'm too lazy, so I'm not gonna. Let's read some comments that respond to this, shall we? Oh, wait. I gotta bring up this, because this is very important. Very important here. I want to bring your attention to it, in case you missed it. Okay, this is unforgivable on the internet. He said eggshells. That's right. He said eggshells. Well, the yoke's on you, Gad. You fucked up now. We gotta point out that you said eggshells, not eggshells. Like you wanted to say, you said eggshells. So, time to get wrecked, man. You're gonna get wrecked over that one. That's just unforgivable. How silly. Okay, so so here we go with the comments. I'm not gonna read all of them because there's a lot, but I'm gonna read some of them because I think they're funny. I'm buying coffee at least once a week. I don't remember a single time I had to use pronouns to order ever in my life. Okay, so let me talk about the failing of logic of this. Now, what this is an appeal to minority, the appeal to the minority of one. Just because you haven't experienced this phenomenon doesn't mean that somebody else cannot experience that phenomenon. It's amazing. That's how reality works. So I went to the bank and there was a bank robbery. And then somebody's like, "Yeah, well, I've been to the bank every single day and I've never seen a bank robbery. So I mean, the fuck are you talking about, moron?" So what are you doing here? You're basically saying that didn't happen. Or you're saying, it's never happened to me, so I don't care. Or like, what are why is this such a deal? Like, what are you complaining about? What are you talking about? Why are you even bringing this up? Why do you have to bring this to my attention? Ugh, I've never seen this ever. Ugh. So that's what this fallacy is. Okay, I'm going to dial back the hyperbolicnism so people know I'm being serious here. It's just, yeah, yeah. Okay, there. All right. Whew. Okay, so it's an appeal to the minority of one. My personal experience, I've never had this. Therefore, what you're saying doesn't matter, or what you're saying didn't happen, or I've never encountered this, so I don't care about your encounter, or why are you even sharing it? It's a way to dismiss what you're talking about, because he's relaying a story that we have to accept as being true. Now, we don't have to accept it, but there is no reason to be skeptical of the story. He didn't say that the barista suddenly levitated into the air. He didn't say that the barista died and then came back to life mysteriously. He didn't say that the barista then, opened up a wormhole to an alternate space and time. He said nothing that was extraordinary. So there's no reason to be skeptical that what he said happened. Could he get some details wrong because of the transmission between his wife having this event and his wife telling the story to him and then him deciding to write it down? Sure. But whatever little bit of info is lost, that's kind of secondary to the thing that he wants to talk about. Is the policing of language is the main topic here that he wants to discuss. And he's saying, look, this is causing people distress. Here's an example of it causing people distress. It's one example. It's an appeal to the minority of one. So God is also committing the fallacy in a way of saying, here's the one example of my wife being in distress because of this phenomenon that's out there that I'm trying to discuss here. So on a purely logical level, you can say, okay, sure, your wife experienced that. I'm not going to doubt that. But on the whole, does this happen enough for us to warrant a thorough examination of this? Or are you simply inflating the problem? And so that's a good question. Now, that's a decent rebuttal to this. So if you're saying, well, you're trying to formulate an argument that the fact of reality is that too many people are out there that worry about what you call them, so much so to the fact that it makes other people worry about what to call them. And so that in itself is a problem. Okay, well, we would need some data to show that that's the case. We would need data to show that people are behaving in this way, right? And that it's a problem in the first place. If it was a logical argument, or if it was a syllogism, that's what we would expect. But is a Twitter post that? Or is this not in that vein? Is this closer to a casual conversation? Or is it closer towards an essay style of argumentation? And if it is, then you have to use different analysis on it than you would a purely logical argument. There's no syllogism here to examine. Now we're in informal logic. Well, that's what I'm engaging in, is informal logic by saying, even though there's no syllogism, I'm going to extract out what this argument is. Something happened. Okay. My wife was worried about offending somebody because people can be offended, because we have this language policing that's going on. Okay. You can say, no, there is no language policing. That's not true. It's not a real phenomenon. Now the burden's kind of on you to show that, but also it was kind of on him to show that language policing is a phenomenon. Unless, of course, it's just widely accepted that language policing is a phenomenon, in which case you don't need to demonstrably demonstrate it. And maybe we, as the audience, can ferret out by the responses, at least to some degree, whether or not language policing is indeed a phenomenon to be worried about. Now, the first comment we read says, I'm just going to ignore it. So that doesn't give us data one way or the other. It's just a person brushing it off, not wanting to engage in the conversation one way or the other. Okay. The other person just says, excuse me, Miss Sir. Right, but you don't understand. If they had said that and if they were wrong, then they could face some consequences of saying the wrong thing. They were worried about saying Miss or Sir and being wrong. So you can't engage in that way. She wanted to say to the server's colleague, he'll get the hang of it, but hesitated because of Hill. So he's explaining further what the interaction was about. So let's ignore that, though. Hi, I'd like a coffee. But that's not what the conversation went down. Why do you need to use pronouns to order something, lols? Can I have a drink refill? Not hard, bro. So this is, again, just more people brushing off the issue at hand. They're saying, look, you're making a mountain out of a molehill, okay? It's not hard to avoid using pronouns one way or the other, but they missed the point where he clarified. So, see, he did an error in his initial essay. He should have included the full, as much as the information as he could have, so that this would have been prevented. Shame on you, Gad. You should have known better. People are going to nitpick you to death here because nuance is dead. Okay, so the full conversation was like, oh, he'll get the hang of it, talking about the news server to somebody else or whatever, and then not wanting, but then they're right there, and so then like she'll get the hang. That get the hang of it. Run away, So yeah, not that big of a deal, right? There's ways to just say, well, there's a way to avoid it. Yes, but that's not the point. The point is not finding a way to avoid it. That's not the point that he's trying to bring forth to the table. He's not saying, hey, look, we don't know how to avoid this. He's saying, there's a problem here, but let's avoid the problem because we don't want to address the problem because then that means there is a problem. And so we're going to pretend that there isn't a problem unless indeed there is no problem here. So if there wasn't a problem in language policing, people would be like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Just say whatever the hell you want. Offend them. It's not going to matter. But what we're seeing is people saying avoid the situation in full, which suggests to me that there is, in fact, a problem of language policing that people are trying to avoid in clever ways, which why would you try to avoid it unless there is indeed a problem? Anyways. Let's see. Sounds like you have a problem. It's literally a you problem. If this causes your wife to be rendered immobile and struck dumb, she shouldn't be allowed to leave the house anymore. Right. So again, let's ignore the problem. Let's make the problem some other problem. Congrats on using gender neutral language in your tree about how hard language is. Yeah, again, she must have stepped away from the eggshells for a minute to think first. Got to make sure that we egg him on about his mistake there. Does she always use third person when talking directly to somebody? Or it's just something we're trying to score reactionary panic points online? Because that's all he's doing. He's not trying to make a point about reality. He's not actually bringing forth any interesting discussion. He's just trying to score points. He scored 1,000 lobster points in my book, by the way. So a lot of people, of course, eggshells, they're pretty flimsy. They're just designed to hold eggs after all. Ha ha! He said eggshells. Ha 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 ha! I don't know what this anime girl is doing here. That didn't happen. Oh, here we go. Everyone knows this because second person pronouns are gender neutral. So here we have the mind reading fallacy, which I've invented. The mind reading fallacy. It's not an actual fallacy. I think it should be. So the mind reading fallacy occurs when and if somebody says, I know what you know. I know what you believe. I know that this didn't really happen. And the way that I know that is because I'm able to read your mind. Okay? Because that's the only way that you could know that this did or didn't really happen. Well, everyone knows that this didn't happen because you don't write things this way when things really did happen this way. So anyone that ever writes this way, obviously that thing never happened. So if you ever write, according to them, second person pronouns that aren't gender neutral, then it didn't happen in reality. So let's just, again, find a way to say that I don't want to engage in talking about the issue at all. I just want to pretend that this thing never even really happened. And I know that that's true because I can read your mind. Amazing. This motherfucker said eggshells. Doesn't take a PhD, just be normal. Yeah, because he's got a PhD. We gotta hate on his PhD. Also, literally everyone on Earth is possibly transgender. This sounds like a serious roadblock for your wife in her attempts to buy coffee and exist. Everyone is literally transgender? Or wait, literally possibly transgender? Really? Why? How does that work? See, you don't know when a guy is a guy and a girl is a girl anymore? Like, really? That's what you think? Okay. See, I don't know. I'm a basic guy. I'm kind of dumb. When somebody looks like a guy, I call him a guy. When somebody looks like a girl, I call him a girl. That's it. I'm kind of just basic like that. But what happens sometimes is they have maybe clothing on of a girl, but they don't look like a girl. And so you're like, well, they're transgender because, that's another category. Maybe they're a cross-dresser. Everyone's literally possibly a cross-dresser. So maybe the phenomenon is so much a phenomenon that it's at the level where you don't know who's a guy and a girl anymore, and that seems to me to be a problem. But whatever, I could be wrong. Let's go on, shall we? I want to just say your wife's stupid. The motherfucker said eggshells. Don't forget about that. You scared of words, bro. Ha ha. Use the correct pronoun for literally everyone. Hope this helps, weirdo. Yes, let us not engage in the conversation. By the way, I don't like the word you. It offends me deeply. I've never associated with the word you, so don't use that when you're talking to me. Let's see. Hello, him. Wow, do you think we're the snowflakes laughing my ass off? Well, now you've assumed that you know that he thinks that you're snowflakes. Maybe he doesn't think that. Oh well, whatever. Let's see. Is your wife okay? Is she okay? Is she okay? Gad Saad. Is your wife okay? Is she okay? Okay, anyways. Laughing nervously. What the fuck? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, so here's more ways to avoid the problem. More ways to avoid the problem. Let's make fun of him. Should have used a woman with the thing there since he's talking about his wife, not him, but whatever. Here's more ways to avoid the problem. Let's see. This didn't happen. It's just more ways to avoid the problem. Let's see. Is there anybody that? Oh, look. Let's just make fun of him. I am learning. Ha ha ha. Yes, hello there. Let's more ways to avoid the problem. Here's eggshells. Ha ha ha. Eggshells. Ha. He said that. Ha ha. I'm glad I found this in response to that. I think learn what the fuck a pronoun is, whether it's even necessary to use one. Step 2, get your head out of your what? Out of your ass? Um, uh, if your engagement is longer, then where's the rest? We're gonna leave the server the hell alone. So you can't talk to servers anymore. Like just try to have a normal. No, I guess. More ways to avoid the problem. She has social anxiety. Okay, all right. A tweet was deleted by the tweet author. Oh man, I want to see with that one. That's got to be bad. All right, okay, I could go on and on, but given this very, very small sample size, granted, extraordinarily small sample size, if I wanted to, which I don't, but if I wanted to, I could do a metadata analysis of this Twitter thread and just categorize how many people respond by basically not addressing the problem itself. What they're doing is saying, look, there's a way to avoid this. True, but that's not the issue. The issue is not in trying to find a way to avoid it. The issue is that it's an issue in the first place. Now, some people are insulting and some people are missing the nuance here. And so let me get it all put into a package so we can all grasp what Gad Saad got wrong in this evil, vile tweet. He wanted to have a conversation about something that really happened. I don't have any reason to doubt that this didn't happen. And the conversation is people can get into situations where they're not sure how to interact with somebody because if they say the wrong thing, they will be canceled. They will be attacked online or actual reality, or, well, I guess online is actual reality. I've always kind of separated the two, but today it seems the lines have become blurred. That's a whole different kettle of fish worms. But yes, you can be somebody that's very concerned about somebody else's feelings and worry that you will offend them. And that's a legitimate concern. It shouldn't be, I don't think. You shouldn't worry about it. Now, I remember from my own life quite some time ago, long time ago when I was younger, and I let my hair just keep growing longer than this. It was longer than this. Okay. And from behind me, somebody said, "Excuse me, miss." And I turned around and I was really pissed. And it was some guy or whatever, and I was just like, whatever. And I knew he said that because my hair was long, and that's all he could see of me. And also, I was smaller than him, and so it's just a simple mistake. And I was upset internally, but I didn't say anything externally. Now I am because I'm trying to tell a story, but that's my experience. That only reflects upon my reality. Somebody else might really get upset at that. Somebody else might flip out over that. Now, whether that's good, bad, or other is itself a whole conversation to be had, because then we're diving into psychology and how people react to different things. And I could bring up story after story of my own life experiences talking about different times when people reacted in ways that I did not expect. But that's all an appeal to the minority of one. It's one data dot on a chart that I don't have. And so you could be free to be skeptical of my conclusions based upon my limited data spread. Similarly, we could be skeptical of me saying about this Twitter thread that it seems to be that a lot of people are dismissive of the topic rather than trying to engage in the problem, if there is a problem at all. And the problem is, what do we do? There's this, seems like there's a phenomenon where I am worried about saying something to somebody because if that person decides to become offended, they can get a bunch of people to be against me, which before the internet wasn't really a thing as much as it is now. Before the internet was around, you could possibly get like a group of friends to come with you to attack somebody or lynch mob someone, but that seems to be a bit of an escalation of events based on just words being exchanged. So now, today, we have the reality of, if I have enough people, followers, or even if I don't, and I say the right hashtags or the right verbal things and it gets noticed, that I can get people to be on my side and form a mob to come after that person using words. And some of those people might take it a step further and say words aren't enough. I need to get this person fired from their job. I need to get rid of this person because I don't like them. And Twitter did that to Trump. Twitter didn't like what Trump said, so it got rid of him. Now, whether you like or dislike Trump, it's like, really, Twitter? Come on. You've got other people that also are there that I could consider vile and evil people, and I don't like. Why not them? Why this and not that? And you could ask that question, and Twitter won't tell you the answer because it doesn't have to. And that's fine. You can do whatever it wants. So can YouTube. So can anything online. You don't exist anymore. They can decide that arbitrarily. They don't even need to give you the reason. And we have a whole new, another subject that's interconnected to this tangentially, of whether or not freedom of speech should be enforced upon these platforms that we utilize. And I'm beginning to think maybe that should be the case, because I already have one strike against my channel for hate speech because I made a silly song. And it was meant to be silly, and it's clearly silly, but it doesn't matter because even if it's comedy, it's still hate speech. I don't know how that works. I don't understand it. It's something that somebody didn't like, so let's get rid of it. Okay, so are there transgender people? Absolutely. Is it possible that one of them might be offended by what you say? Possibly. Is it then possible that that person could post that online and that you then, because you said something wrong, will now face the wrath of a group of people online? Yes. Can this happen with other things? Absolutely. It doesn't have to be transgender. It can be anything. The person said something wrong that I don't like politically. They said something wrong morally. They said whatever it is, and a group of people can form and get you. Should we do that? Should we encourage that? Should we take part in that? That's the question I think is being asked here in this evil, vile post. But Gad just didn't do it right, so I'm helping Gad out by doing it right for him. And I see chat going on, and I'm trying to do this, so I'll engage in chat in a bit. But okay, so if I say something wrong to any of you, I know my audience fairly well. I know most of you pretty well by now. I don't think that any one of you would try to get people to come after me. But that's the people I know. The people I don't know, who knows? In Islam, if you were in a place where they could kill you for being an atheist, do you stand up and say, "Hey everybody, I'm an atheist"? Probably not, because you probably value your life more than you do your atheism. It would be a very, very bad idea to go to the ghetto. We all know where the ghetto is in our town. My ghetto is pretty darn close by, and to wave some money around. I actually have some money here, it just happens to be, and wave a bunch of money around. Hey, look, I've got $20 bills, man. Woo! 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 20, $120. Look at me. Woo! And if I did that in the bad part of town, I don't think I would make it out with that money. I think that it would be taken from me by some person or many people that would come and take it from me. They'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're dumb. That's my money now." And they could pull a knife or a gun, or heck, just be stronger and or taller than me, and I'd be like, "Here you go. I was stupid." It's not a good idea. So you can do things in life that are bad ideas, where going into the situation that if I know that this is a bad neighborhood, and I mean it's a bad neighborhood, and then you do an action that is probably a bad idea, like waving around money and saying, "Hey, look at all the money I got," that something bad is probably going to happen to you. It shouldn't happen to you, but it probably will. That is something that we as a society need to work to fix. There shouldn't be a ghetto. It should ideally be that you could go and wave around money in any area of the world, and people would be like, "Yeah, okay, so what? Whatever, man. You do you," and not steal your money. But that's not the way reality is. We understand that. We accept that. We also don't like that that's the way it is. It is true that if you go up to somebody and you say, "Hey, fuckface, you're a shit for brains," probably a bad idea. Probably going to lead into some altercation of some sort. More so if you go into, say, a bar, you go up to a big, burly biker guy and you go, "Hey, faggot, fuck you and your mom too." Probably gonna be a problem. Probably going to regret that immediately. It shouldn't be that person's response is a punch in your face, but that's probably what's gonna happen. If we had a different society, one that's better than what we have now, one that's more enlightened, it could be that you say that and the biker's just like, "That's funny, you're asshole. Yeah, whatever, fuck you too." And that should be the end of that, because words should only be met with words, not violence. But we have a different type of violence now. We have the violence, although I don't like to call it violence because it doesn't seem like it's the right word to use. But we have the fact that some people, a significant amount of people, will group up and attack somebody using words. And words can affect people. They can make people feel things that they don't want to feel. And so if it's wrong for me to say the wrong word at one person, why is it okay for everybody else to say several wrong words on me? It's not. It's Standard for you, not standard for me. It's I get to do the thing that you don't get to do. That's not fair. We're not fair, rational creatures. So how do we address that problem in general, in Pacific, broadly speaking? Can we address it? Can we fix it? Don't take part in it is one solution. Don't be part of the mob. And maybe that's what this all is about. Is there is a significant selection of people out there who are interested in mob mentality, what has been referred to as social justice. They don't want criminal actual justice. They don't want you to go to court. They want to decide your fate and execute you, if not literally, then as much as they can online. So they'll tell your, hey, everybody, this is where they live. Maybe somebody out there will take care of them for me, you know? So that's wrong. That mob mentality, that's not justice. That's lynching. That's evil. That's vile. It's not a good thing. So we should be against it. But some people are like, we can play with it a little bit. Okay, is there nuance there? Yeah, but also nuance is dead. But it's like you can't have the conversation because the conversation is a problem. And we'll kill you for the conversation. And all we have to do is look back. We, atheists, agnostics, skeptics, Dawkins. Remember, Richard Dawkins was canceled. Remember this happened. He went to go talk to a university. He was invited by students who fundraised enough money to get him there and to get him, because he needs, they paid his way and they paid for his time to talk. And he was going to talk about evolution. But before he went, he decided to share a Psi 10 atheist video. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm intertwined to a little bit of Psi 10 atheist stuff because he did a lot of my music for me. I was in a couple of his videos. I love the man. And he's like retired off of YouTube now. He does like other things out there, but it seems like he's retired off of that to some extent. And I miss the guy. I do. And I wish he'd email me, but he hasn't, so I don't know what he's doing. But anyways. So because Dawkins tweeted that video out, people saw that, got so upset that they decided that the university needed to not have him come and talk. What one thing had to do with the other is absolutely, he did nothing. One thing had nothing to do with the other. But a bunch of people decided that they needed to cancel him from coming, and they succeeded. Now, the university also is gutless because they caved into those idiots rather than saying, fuck you guys, we're going to have this guy. What are you talking about? And no, you're not allowed to protest either. Or if you do protest, it better be fucking quiet and not disruptive. How about that? And stand by the rights of the students who paid and the way to have this guy talk. But he tweeted out a video that people didn't like, and so he's a bad guy. And that happened. And it's happened to others. This is ridiculous. It still goes on today. It's still going on and will continue to go on until enough of us say no to that. But sadly, many atheists and skeptics, agnostics, etc., have said, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not going to talk about it. Myself included. But that ends today. I will talk about whatever the hell I want to. To the hell with the consequences. Because I have things I want to talk about, and they're interactive with logic and reason, which is my passion. Somebody recently I had emailed and interacted with, I want to do a collab with, but I won't say who it is. said, what am I passionate about? I said, logic and reason. And I gave all these examples of times and places where people are not being logical and rational because they have succumbed to an ideology of some sort. And we atheists are just as susceptible as any other human. I saw an atheist say that they had decided that that Jordan Peterson wasn't worth listening to because because Peterson is too much anti-science. Well, there again, nuance is dead. I don't agree with a lot of what Peterson says, but I do agree with some of it. And that he happens to be nonsensical in parts doesn't mean that the good things that he says aren't worth listening to. And the same might be true of me. Oh, this guy, I've been told I slur, I have a speech impediment, whatever. Yeah, I do. And what's your argument? And on my blog, I have a post detailing I am all the things. And it says I'm a bigot, I'm a racist, I'm whatever. And I go through a whole list of things. And then I say, and what's your argument? Because I don't care about your insults. I want your argument. That's all that matters is logic and reason. And then I had people quite some time ago who said, don't bother with logic. Logic's not going to convince people. And in fact, and I'll bring it up because it is related directly to this. It's so funny that it happened. It's so funny and sad at the same time. Let me pull it up for you here. Hold on a moment. Okay, so I won't play the video, but I will link the video. Okay, hold on here. Because it's completely on topic with what I'm talking about. So there's a series called Logical Thinking, Star Trek Logical Thinking, and CD Dan Hoster does it, and I love it, and you should watch it. He also made an actual episode of Star Trek using the animated series stuff. But anyways, this is great. He does different logical fallacies, and Spock comes along and he tells the people the error that they're doing, and they then correct the error. In this particular one, it's the entitled to my opinion, agree to disagree fallacy. That's what the video is about. And I kid you not, if you look at the comments and you find mine, where is it? Here we go. You'll see the one that has 20 responses to it from Steve 12324L. Read that. I'm not going to read it right now. You guys, girls, robots, etc., go out and you read it, and you tell me in the comments how insane of a situation this is. Because it is exactly what I'm talking about. Is I give up. People aren't logical, so I'm not going to use logic then. Because it doesn't convince people. You can't reason with people. You can't use logic on people. So I give up. I'm also not going to use logic on people. And I had somebody quite some time ago basically say, well, you can't use logic to convince everybody. So what's the point? And I'm like, well, then how do I decide if your argument's valid or not? What system do you use to do that? And they didn't have an answer. All they could do was insult me. So, yeah. You can't fix stupid, that's true, but that doesn't get you off the hook of being rational and logical yourself. Science has a methodology. Logic has a methodology. Mathematics has a methodology. Philosophy by itself doesn't seem to have any methodology. And if there is one, then let me know how it works. What it does and how you know it's true or false. Just demonstrate that. Because the other ones I know work. And when I said that a long time ago, I was accused of scientism because I was asking for evidence of a phenomenon. I was called a science. I was doing scientism according to agnostics, atheists, and some that called them skeptics. A long time ago. And that's an appeal to the minority of one. So just because it happened to me doesn't mean it happens a lot. But it did happen, and I don't like it. Because we, you, me, both of us must use logic. And if we don't remember how to do it, then let's relearn it. It's not just about the fallacies. That's a little bit, but that's not the whole picture. We've got to learn how to do informal and formal logic and help each other out and fix each other's arguments whenever possible. And that includes topics that we might not want to deal with, topics that are hard to deal with, things that are near and dear to our hearts. If we are unable or unwilling to question what we hold most dear, then that's the thing that's gonna become our God. We have to be able to do that. We have to be able to talk about it. Otherwise, well, madness. And it seems like the world has been inundated with some madness lately. And I know those good things too. Anyways, okay, so whew, thank you for making it through my rant. If you're sick and tired of this, then you can turn off now. But now I'm going to do responding to the chat. And so video done, chat responding happens now. Okay, wow, I've got a lot of stuff to look at. Holy shit. My God. Oh my God. Let's see. Let's see. It's just referred to everybody as mate. Yeah, right. Right, but that's just avoiding the problem. It is Gad secular or not? I don't really know off the top of my head. I don't honestly remember. Oopsie. Not that it should matter. Yeah, well, let's see. When I do good, I feel good, and when I do bad, I feel bad. That's my religion, Abraham Lincoln. That's pretty decent, I suppose. Converted man. Okay. We need to teach people how to think. Yes. Acknowledgement of feelings and then deny them. It's not easy teaching people to have good control over the emotions, so apathy might be another way to go. Right, and like I said with that, I was being very hyperbolic with let's just not care what people feel. Because I have feelings, I mean, but one's feelings shouldn't trump another's feelings. So if I don't feel like calling you what you want me to call you and I call you the wrong thing, yeah, you can be upset, but it doesn't end the world. Maybe we shouldn't punch each other over it or get a mob on each other over it or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, fear wouldn't be a way to go, that's for sure. Teach people to acknowledge their feelings, how they relate to their thoughts. Good idea. What the hell? Hey, buddy. I think he meant eggshells, not eggshells. No, he meant eggshells. God damn it. Let's see. Try telling my Tiberius that his orange ass can't do violence. Hey, Tiberius, your orange ass can't do violence. Okay, I did it. What do I win? You're the first atheist other than myself to admit we're not rational animals. Am I? I don't. Oh, thank you for the kind words. First to your point of view, not first in because we don't know who was first. Bullying, mob mentality is wrong. I belong to political pages and play the leftists and far right. Both polar groups do it. Yeah. What social justice that word means is, it's another one of these kind of like can of worms issues that might require an actual conversation with people in the same stream rather than what I'm doing right now. So worth talking about, absolutely. If I do that over here in California, the city of Oakland, you get shot in the head. They're talking about waving the money around, right? Yeah, probably. I've been to Oakland. It's yeah. What video? I don't know what that's in response to. Count me the second. These are all responses to things I said, obviously. Uh, People don't care about being mindful of self-questioning and staying informed and educated. Yeah, who don't wish to better themselves change. Yeah, yeah. I mean, relationships are a tricky thing, and that's kind of beyond my field of understanding. Uh, okay, are the good things Peterson says unique to Peterson? If not, you should not listen to Peterson, but other persons saying those things without the crazy stuff. That's an interesting idea. This is where my thing comes in. The argument's what matters, not the person. Okay? So I have a green face thing. Wow. Okay, I still have green screen on from last time. Whoops. Okay, let's try that again. Here we go. I have this. Okay, well, we can't really tell that it's green, but here, let me do red instead. I have this red thing with a weird face on it that my brother 3D printed for me. And okay, so we all know that's a fact. That's reality. Okay. So let's say I'm a terrible, awful, vile person, and I say things, and I'm like, I am God, and I'm like, oh, and by the way, this is real. So the part that matters is not the person or the group saying the thing that's true. What matters is the thing that's true. So no, in a way, you're right. It's not about who says it, but also it's not about let's not listen to them because somebody else says the same thing that they're saying and they're also right. It's like whoever's right, it doesn't matter who's right. So we've got to focus on the argument and not the person. And I understand that it's like, oh, but he says woo. So we talk about that. We debate the woo. But that doesn't mean you don't listen to somebody that you don't agree with, because that's part of being a skeptic too, in my view, is challenging my own ideas by listening to some bizarre stuff. And I've heard bizarre stuff. And I go, that's nonsense. But let me understand what you mean by that nonsense. So I understand why you believe that nonsense. And then maybe I can communicate with you in a way that will change your mind. And maybe not, but maybe I can change somebody else's mind. And that might be a worthwhile endeavor. And I couldn't do that if I chose not to interact with a person because they're tainted. We can have a disagreement there. We're both entitled to our opinion. Wait, that's a logical fallacy. Ah! Yeah, okay. Let's see. All right, so, whew, okay, well, okay, so yeah, I think I read most of the things that I needed to respond to, and if you felt like I missed something, please let me know right now. Hi, Purple. Can I change my mind? Can I get one of the latest ones? I don't know how much they cost. Yeah, look, I've learned, or I've tried to make myself like being wrong, and I'm really good at being wrong. So, but you learn something new. And all of this, everything I've said in this video and everything, I mean, we might, maybe some of what I said you disagree with, and that's good. And so let's have that talk. Let's have that civil discourse, and I can explain better what I mean, maybe in writing than I can in video format, especially when it's not edited like this is. This is a live stream of my conscious thoughts of what Gad Saad said, this evil thing. Let's talk about it. Was what he said evil and vile? No, obviously not. Even though I totally disavow it, just in case I'm back in all my issues here, back in every which way. Do we understand what he's saying, what he's trying to get at? Well, I think so. I hope so. I think I explored that thoroughly in this video. How would you respond? Well, it depends on this. I mean, it depends, right? And each of us has a different way of approaching things and doing things. And each of us brings a unique view of reality into that mix. But then, of course, we have to have a solid epistemology. And if we all use the same epistemology, we know that, and we can demonstrate demonstrably that epistemology works, then we should come to a consensuary agreement of what to do about any given thing. Does that also apply to ethical, moral choices? It might, and perhaps it does. But we have to, of course, set the value for what we're trying to achieve. So there's a lot of things to talk about. So let me know what you have to think about any and or everything I've said in this video in the comments below. And if you do that, you'll get lobster points, which are exchangeable for whatever you want. It's amazing. You can use them for anything. They're redeemable everywhere, and they've been known to help heal everything that there is to heal. Thanks for listening. Like or dislike, and if you disagree, whatever it is, let me know in the comments. Email me if you want. If you don't want it public for some reason, you just want to tell me I'm evil in an email, we'll do it there. DCONVERTED man1@gmail.com. Okay, so deconvertedman1@gmail.com. That's my email. It's on my about page. All my stuff is everywhere. Buy my book. If you haven't bought my book yet, then read my book if you haven't read my book. But if you've done both of those things, you're awesome and everyone else sucks. Thanks for watching, and don't forget that I am insane. Wait, no, that's not how I wanted to end. I mean, just because I'm insane doesn't mean I'm not wrong. Wait, huh? Yeah, this is the part of the video where I lose my sanity and then I end the video. It's a gimmick that I came up with. I don't know if it's really working for me or not. Let me know if there's a better way to end the video. I don't know. Thanks for watching.